Happy Thanksgiving from all of us here at Newsnight 13.
Welcome back. November is being observed as National Women's Month. This was the highlight of a local worship service on Sunday morning. Sabrina Brown reports.
50 years ago, the women's suffrage movement was established after a group of female activists got together to fight for the rights of women in the Bahamas. On November 6, 1962, women 21 years and older were able to vote for the first time in the country. Yesterday, during the worship service at Church of the Good Shepherd in Pinders Point, the Minister of Social Services and Community Development, Melanie Griffin, highlighted the significance of the month-long observance.
It is indeed significant to note that in the general election in May of this year, 10% more women than men registered to vote.
Minister Griffin said those women who have made significant contributions to nation building should always be celebrated for their achievements.
We, again, as Reverend Ambrose said, must never forget the women who were in the forefront leading the charge for women's suffrage. Notably, they were Mary Ingram, Doris Johnson, Eugenia Lockhart, Georgiana Simonet, and Mabel Walker.
Rector at the Good Shepherd, Reverend Irma Ambrose, encouraged the women to remain steadfast, as fighting for a worthwhile cause, she says, is never easy.
We have to be patient in trying to succeed along the path and trying to struggle and fight for the things that we need to fight for. We have to educate. So some of the things that you think will happen by the snap of a finger, it will take some time. And that is why we need to pray to God and ask Him for patience so that we can continue.
Sabrina Brown, ZNS Network News.
Meantime, the Bureau of Women's Affairs, the Ministry of Social Services and Community Development, in conjunction with the Community of Non-Government Women's Organization, hosted a special luncheon to observe National Women's Week on Monday. The guest speaker, attorney at law Marion Bethel, shared a video documentary she created on the women's suffrage movement in the Bahamas. She says Bahamians must realize that this movement is significant and should be understood in total context.
Significance of the Boomer Road riots of 1942. It has the national significance of the contract of 1943 to 1963. It has the national significance of the general strike of 1958, the constitutional reform that took place during this period, Black Tuesday of 1965, the Majority Rule movement, the independence movement. The women's suffrage movement is one of our national narratives that we do not know very well, and this ought to be the last year that any of us, including our children, do not know the significance and the importance of this movement.
She says the struggles of women in the Bahamas must be passed on to the younger generation.
It's really, really important that our young children know all of this history, and it's up to us. We have the right to vote now. We have the right to use the tools that the women's suffrage movement used to make what we want to happen in our society. Right? So what we want our children to know, we've got to make it happen for them to know, and it's up to all of us.
Now, the luncheon was held under the theme Women in Leadership, the Untold Story. In other news, police officials are investigating a shooting incident in West Grand Bahama. According to reports, around 2:58 on Monday morning, police received information that a male in West End was attacked and shot by a group of men in the area. Police say the victim was beaten about the body and shot in the right shoulder. He was seen by a doctor and his injuries are reported to be serious but not life-threatening. Investigations are continuing into this matter. And one man sustaining serious injuries during a fight in the Coral Gardens area. According to reports, police received information that a group of men were involved in an altercation around 3 p.m. on Saturday. When police arrived on the scene, they found 2 men suffering from injuries. One man received injuries about the body, while another had to be airlifted to the Princess Margaret Hospital in New Providence, where he is currently detained in the intensive care unit in serious conditions. Police are continuing their investigation into this matter.
Good weekend. Gonna have a good weekend, so some things are gonna happen. Ready to rock?
Ready to rock.
Let's do it.
That's going to do it for this edition of Newsnight 13. On behalf of our entire ZNS News team.
So Russell, she made me do it, okay? I'm Ricardo.
Happy birthday, Mr. Russell. I'm Shasheena. Good night, everyone.
Making, call ZNS News at 351-3430.
Covering the